So welcome everyone to iLeadership Talks. My name is Amadou Chico Sissoko. I'll be your host. I'm the founder of Chico's Innovators, which is an innovation accelerator for SMEs that are trying to solve the world's greatest challenges using innovation. We have an accelerator program called MASI, Making Africa a Continent of Innovators. That's our major mission. And today we have our guest, Ben Babaii, who is an innovation practitioner, an expert in many fields of quality, the Six Sigma, TRIZ, and someone who's really passionate about solving problems, helping communities solve their problems from the bottom up. So Ben, I would like you to introduce yourself to our audience. I would like you to share with them your background and what got you involved in this field of innovation.
Oh, thank you, Chico. It's a great honor for me to be with you and with the audience of this webinar. My name is Ben. Of course, my real name is Sadegh, and but I've been used to being called Ben, for simplicity. I'm a mechanical engineer. I studied in UK. I went to Imperial College in London, and then I did my PhD in mechanical engineering or in the University of Manchester and then in the University of Oxford. I have always had a passion for innovation, and problem solving has been at my heart. And I have given it as an engineer a lot of time and a lot of thought of how to do innovation and what makes people innovators. And it really became a highlight of my career and highlight of my personal journey when I encountered my first training in theory of inventive problem solving, or TRIZ. It's a Russian, acronym, and it really propelled me into thinking systematically into how to innovate. And for me, innovation transformed from being something of a spark into something of a light bulb, because a spark they just fly in the air and you have to catch it, kindle it, and create a fire, and then use the heat, use the light, and etc. But a light bulb, you just flick a switch on demand. You turn it on and you start thinking innovatively, and then when you want to take a rest, you just turn it off. Therefore, and it stays on, and you can take advantage of the light, the heat, whatever that is intended. And since then, I have been through that journey. I've learned different methodologies, technologies. I encountered many leaders in innovation, whether they were in the area of TRIZ or in the area of innovation management, innovation science, and I am still a student in their, mentorship and learning about how to be a better innovator and how to be a better leader in innovation.
Excellent, excellent. So when you think of that journey of learning and having all these teachers and mentors, what experience can you say really was groundbreaking for you in seeing the value of innovation? Even before we define what innovation is, but what do you think was that experience during your career that made innovation something that you were like, this is transformational?
Right. The most important experience for me is that everybody can be an innovator. We as human beings, we are innovators. It is not, it's not something that we say, oh, somebody is a, innovator and it's not for me. We all the time innovate. We problem solve. The big difference between problem solving and innovation from the point of view of a scientist, of course, is that innovation is when the problem solving creates value. It brings some, additional, value proposition to the people, to the community, and create wealth. And that is really becomes, what now the innovation scientists try to differentiate between problem solving and innovation. And innovation therefore becomes a journey, a process where problem solving is just a part of it. Understanding who is the end user becomes another part of it, creating those empathies and trying to understand who is the personas of our users, and then how to make the concepts that comes out of the problem solving into a product of value is another part of the innovation process and innovation journey. Therefore, innovation has changed over the years from just being a problem solving into a more complex process that requires methods, tools, but also culture and leadership in order to be able to actually flourish it, whether personally or in an organization.
Excellent. So you spoke about methods, tools, culture, and leadership when you think of innovation. So what would be your definition of innovation, an innovative individual? And then what would then be the methods, tools, culture that allows someone to lead innovation?
For me, the innovation is a journey that identifies a need and makes it into a product of value. Therefore, it generates value of a product that comes from a need that is identified. And the tools and methods there are, because this is a journey, there are different tools that are out there that are suitable for different parts of this innovation journey. And people sometimes, they think that innovation is just one approach. Mm-hmm. Innovation is not one approach. There are tens of different ways or hundreds different ways of going about innovating. But it always starts with, understanding a need. And in innovation, the need is something that your end user don't know that they have it. That makes it innovation as compared to an engineering practice. In engineering design, usually we know what the need is. In a new car or a new calculator or any new machinery, as an engineer, and then we try to design the known knowledge into serving that need. Mm-hmm. But in innovation, that is that inner desire of the end user. These are things that they don't know. We call them the inner delights, that they have, but they don't know. And when you bring it, they actually empathize with it, and therefore they want it. And you're creating value, and that Excellent. Becomes that end of that innovation journey.
Excellent. So what would be then the methodology, right? I know there is no one process to innovate, right? Exactly. It depends on the problem, the industry. However, people need to learn different tools. They need to be able to learn all these different tools, and for each situation, be able to have the right tool or method in order to be able to have the best ideas, to come up with the best solutions. So, what challenge have you seen in how people innovate in organizations? So, if you think of large organizations, or if you think of governments, what are the major challenges that you've seen in the way people are applying the tools, or in the way people are addressing problems?
Right. I think it's a very good point that I introduced one of the reference books that I use for the body of knowledge of innovation, and it is called Global Innovation Science Handbook. It's a 1,200-page book, and it tries to embody the known knowledge about innovation. It has editors, but it has tens of authors that have discussed in it about their, understanding of different areas of innovation. And one of the interesting things in this book is that they have identified 76 tools for innovation. There are 76 tools that is discussed in this book about how to do innovation, and there are 100 more that are derivatives of these same tools that help us to innovate. The greatest challenge, or especially in the leadership in organizations, and one of the interesting statistics that I quote from the same book is that 76% of variation in the degree of innovativeness of an organization, especially if they are failing or succeeding, is about leadership. The leadership is especially at the organization level, is a very important factor. And what do we call, innovation leadership? Is a strong leader that is futurist, that is, direction setter, customer advocate, architect, venture capitalist, mentor, barrier buster, networker, culture creator, and role model for the whole organization in their innovation journey into becoming a innovation cultured organization.
Excellent. And so what you're saying is there's someone who's been put as the chief information officer in an organization because of maybe their background in the technical aspect of the management of the company, right? However,
exactly,
leading innovation is not just about the technical aspect of running the organization, but it's also being able to be an influencer for other people in the organization. It's being able to create the culture, a culture creator, a myth buster, someone who's daring to take over new territory. So what do leaders of large organizations, governments, those who are leading innovation, what do they need to develop in order to become exceptional leaders of innovation?
Right. The innovation doesn't happen overnight. And that is something that they have to understand. And it doesn't happen by just creating a vision statement that says we want to be innovative and just bringing one or two people, say a chief innovation officer and a couple of innovation superstars, and put them together and say that now we created innovation. Innovation requires the whole organization change and adapt a culture of innovation. And the culture of innovation starts with the leadership that are accountable. You see, they are visionary, and they are role models. And as I said, a strong innovation without a strong leadership is difficult. I don't say it's impossible, but it is certainly difficult. But what happens when an organization has a vibrant, innovation culture? It provides, infinite sources of value creating ideas. It speeds and the agility of implementation of new products and value for their customer base. It provides continuous performance improvement in their innovation process. Mm-hmm. Because remember, 97% of new product initiatives fail in organizations. Only 3% success, and we see them as a lot of innovations that is coming out. Therefore, innovation is a very difficult journey. What other things that vibrant innovation culture does? It brings employee engagement and satisfaction, because we are all innovators, all humans, and it brings delightful and loyal customers. The customers has changed. The new generation of customers are well informed. They study, they research about what value brings a new product to them. And it is not just the reliability that they are looking for. They're also looking for things that delight them and excite them, right?
Definitely.
And of course, most of all, it brings a sustained, continued competitive advantage to the company. And that is the most important, because a successful innovation culture means a continued innovation process, and therefore they always have a sustained competitive advantage over their competitors in the marketplace.
Excellent, excellent. I think that is what motivates a lot of people to want to learn more about innovation, is when they know that by developing a culture of innovation, our company is going to be more performant, our company is going to offer more values to the customers, and we're going to be distinct in the market. We're going to be unique. What practical examples can you give to the audience? Let's say we're talking to a chief innovation officer in a publicly listed company in Kenya, for example, that would like to, compete globally. What advice would you give them of experiences of other companies that have used either TRIZ or other innovation techniques and methodologies in order to, differentiate themselves in a new industry or a new market using innovation?
Right. One of the most successful and well-known companies that have been using TRIZ continuously is Samsung. Samsung is a leader in using TRIZ and have placed and positioned themselves as not only electronic but also all kind of consumer product leaders in the marketplace. And when we hear about Samsung, we always think of innovative products, whether it's a washing machine, whether it's a TV or a mobile handset. And they have, dedicated thousands of their engineers to learn about the problem-solving tools of TRIZ. That is a well, designed, inventive problem-solving methodology, and it has tools based on patents that have been studied, that were registered over years. The TRIZ as an inventive problem-solving tool is based on the study of over 3 million worldwide patents, and identifying the core or the kernel of innovativeness of each of these patents. And it has started about 46 years ago or 50 years ago in Soviet Union, and by a gentleman called Genrich Altshuler. And he was in charge of the Office of the Patents in Russian Navy or Soviet Union Navy at the time. And they and he was always curious about what makes people inventors, and how the invention happens. He was an inventor himself. Even at the mere age of 10, he invented and patented a new breathing apparatus for underwater diving. And he used this opportunity to study is there a pattern to inventiveness in human? And he discovered that in almost all these patterns, somebody has solved a contradiction.
Mm-hmm.
Because in engineering, contradiction leads to compromise. And the compromise is the main barrier into innovation. Because what they call win-win is really lose-lose.
Yes.
Because you're losing a little bit from both sides, therefore you
You've told me
create
that
something
many
that just
times.
works.
You've told me that many times. Compromise does not lead to innovation.
Correct, correct. And they and therefore inventors have always eliminated a compromise, and therefore busted through that barrier and created something innovative. And of course they had the business savviness to make it into a product that brings value and people will buy.